Hi guys, Crescent Moon. I'm gonna share the recipe for my border protection dirt mixture, and if it's a little smoky in here, you gotta note to self, when you're doing your charcoal disc and you're grabbing your resin, make sure you don't grab a giant chunk and just drop it, because I smoked this out of the house almost. So my cauldron is now outside, burning the rest of that mess off and cleansing the neighborhood. So here we go. And it was frankincense and myrrh, so it was really good shit. So whatever. But here we go. Ingredients are as follow: graveyard dirt, black sand mixture, which I use quite a bit of and I'm almost out, rosemary, thyme, mint, sulfur, cinnamon, Himalayan pink salt, tad bit of dragon's blood powder, and eggshells ground. So what I'm going to start with is, this is my generalized, just basic anointment oil. And I had made a smaller batch of this, which you saw in my money altar video, but I used the whole batch, so now I gotta make more. So we're gonna go this way to anoint my little bowl here, and then we draw our symbols. Put a little bit of power in there to start it off, get it going. And then, also gonna mark the bottom. There we go. Alright, graveyard dirt is up first, and as you can see, I have a plenty. Now each of these items have been separately blessed and enchanted, but I will go over and do them again at the end of this video. There's the graveyard dirt. Okay, now, and this is all on, how big your property is how big your batch needs to be. So a container this size did 3/4 of the way around my apartment, like my personal apartment. So that's the size I use, and it's like probably a pint. It's not very big. It might be a little bit more than a pint, but under a quart. And it doesn't say. So black salt, and your ingredient, it's all gonna be dependent upon the witch to how much of what in each item. And this is just a base. You use whatever items in your arsenal that you have to do what you need to do. There is no right, there is no wrong. We're going to put the thyme in. This is going to help bring in money and luck. I'm going to break this up real good. So we've got our thyme, we've got our black salt. We're going to go with a little bit of cinnamon for some sass and some heavy protection. And as Lady Gravedancer pointed out in her sweetening sand mixture, it also is very good at repelling bugs. They do not like it. So we've got a little bit of that in there, and I'm almost out. I used the hell out of some cinnamon. So, okay, I'm using sulfur, which I love. I have found that I use this quite a bit now, and I'm going to share some with my mother, hopefully. Now this is where I'm going to say, if you're sensitive to sulfate or any kind of sulfurs or whatever, that's probably not the right word, but I'm trying. Don't put your hands in it, because it can cause some irritation if you're sensitive. So far I have been good. So alright, pink Himalayan salt. And if you're putting this in your hands, you can charge it as you're doing it. But like I said before, I have mixed all the, I have blessed all this stuff before when I got it. So I will do an ending blessing at the end and seal the power into it. Alright. Get you some good old bank dirt. If you don't have access to it, I'm sure you can find it, or somebody you know can probably get it for you. And again, I'm almost out. Which I didn't have a whole lot to begin with, but I try to use it sparingly, which is why I supplement the money aspects with herbs, because I don't have a lot of money dirt. Okay, so then move that over here. And you don't have to crush your rosemary up, but I find that it just blends a little bit better when it's a little partially kind of crushed and mushed up. And you can also put your intention into this as you're working it. You can squish it down, get it real good in there. And you can, you know, like I said before, this is all in what you make it. There is no wrong recipe, there is no right recipe. This is just a general idea based on what I do. And I got this general idea from Lady Grave Dancer because I was like, you know what? I have a ton of graveyard dirt and I love to use it. I put it in a lot of stuff. And I had been doing like metaphysical bubbling, you know, putting my energy up there, my energy out there, just visualizing a huge dome on top of my apartment. And it works. But as a double up measure, I find that throwing something physically as a barrier is extremely helpful in that visual aid, because I can see the lines that I've laid. So that's what this is for. And I'm also designing it to, although it's going to block negative vibrations, it's going to block negative intentions that come toward my household, it will allow money to flow through and not be blocked. So we've crushed this up a good bit. We're going to add this to the mixture. Now for all you gals and guys that used to love playing in the dirt, this should be right up your alley. Love the feel of stuff going through my hands. Alright, so we've gotten the rosemary out of the way. Got this out of the way. This is out of the way. I'm going to move on to a little bit of dragon's blood. Because just like hot sauce, that shit's good on everything. And this was labor intensive, so I use it when I can. It's got a lot of intention into that. Alright, I'm going to put a little mint. Now this is where I put a lot of my money intention. So I'm going to rub and intend on this to be the kind of filter to let the money come in. And as you can see, because it's so dry, it almost turns to powder in your hands. And I have my son filming because I had to use my hands to do this. Alright, we got one more step, and that is the eggshells. Now, if y'all don't use eggshell, you don't have to use this eggshell at all. You really don't. I like it because of what it symbolizes. So I like to use this. That eggshell protects that baby, which it's going to protect my babies. My household babies. Fur babies, human babies, husband, everything. Now, this is where things can be altered even more. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Get it all mixed together. And the reason behind that is I don't want to touch the sulfur dead on. If it's broken up and mixed up, it might be a little easier. I haven't had any reaction, but I'm also trying not to test those waters either. Alright, so this is where I'm going to do some, if you do symbols or sigils, whatever you use, just your, you know, your signature on stuff, your mark on stuff. I use the pentagram, pentacle on pretty much everything. So this is my handy dandy wand. And this is where you would put your symbol into your mix. You know, if you do that, or you could even do like the sacred spiral. And don't, you know, I use the, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a legend or a compass. It's almost like a cross, but there's not a longer piece. It's just almost like a plus sign.
Crossroads?
For crossroads and for symbolizing to target home. Okay. Then, this is where some of the good magic happens. Not, you know, not that any of it's not good magic. But, get in there. And I'll do this more thoroughly after this video is done. This is just an example, so you can kind of get an idea. Where's our time at, babe?
11 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay, we're doing good on time. You know, you have to be careful with, I don't like to do a lot of editing, as you guys know. But if you get your hands in here and you just put your intention, you're putting your intention, every bit of your wants, your desires, what you want this mixture to be of. You know, you're giving it its job, you're telling it what to do, you're putting your intention and its sole purpose in here to do the job that you've designed it to do and to be strong. And there's nothing wrong, not a thing bit wrong. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, you could totally do this with just a spoon or something to mush this stuff up even finer. I like putting my hands in it and getting my hands in there. It's very, it's very grounding. And it just makes me feel just that oomph, that extra little bit of spark to get in there, okay? So then, once you've got all this mixed up, you can do a couple things. Well, you can sit it on your altar and let it cleanse that way and charge it. And then you can also put it outside, sit it in a windowsill, whatever you want to do to put more charge into it. It's totally up to you though. Some people don't feel the need to do that, and with me it really depends on what I'm working on. So we'll leave that up to y'all's discretion. But that is it. This is my border protection mixture, my border sand mixture, my candle stuffer that got caught on a wire. And you can make this as elaborate or as simple as you want it to be. If you just want to take a handful of dirt, charge it, give it a job, put your intention into it, and throw it around your house, then if that works for you, then that works for you. It's all in what you make it, which is for newer witches, not that I'm not new, I'm still very, very new, but that seems to be a reoccurring issue. Oh, what do I do? God, how do I make this work? Geez, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. You do what works for you. It's every bit trial and error. Alright, so I am going to put this into my handy dandy little jar. So we've got protection elements, we've got cleansing elements, we've got sacred symbols. You know, you've got everything you need in here, or let me say this, everything I need in here to do the job that I'm looking for, right? I also have a rock blocking my damn thingy, which is why I tend to sift my dirt to stop that kind of stuff from happening. But I didn't sift the last batch. Like, this is the second batch of graveyard dirt I've gotten. And I didn't sift it because I was like, the crumbles could,